Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tuned. Today we are going to be dynoing a Honda CRV, and it has a B20V VTEC engine that he built up. It's got some goodies in the cylinder head, springs, retainers, B16 cams, and it's got a little port and polish job as well, and I believe he said it was a Type R head, right? Okay, and yeah. Only thing that I think is really going to kind of hurt power on this guy today is the fact that it does have a stock exhaust and a catalytic converter still on it. So that is definitely going to hurt some power. But we're just going to make sure this thing is safe, running well, and just kind of give it a once-over. Make sure everything's going good. So yeah, Skunk 2 Pro Series intake manifold, 70mm throttle body. And yeah, we just kind of did a once-over on this thing, pulled the drive shaft out of it, and it's on Honda S300 as an Exetti Stage 1 clutch, I think, with the Integra flywheel, which is a little lighter than the CRV one. That's all the stuff that he's really done to it. And we did get the stock front O2 sensor out, and we plugged in the Dyno wideband, so we were able to monitor air-fuel ratio. This car does not have a wideband in it, so I just made sure that we had an O2 bung readily available for tuning. And we do. So we're just going to give this thing a tug as is, kind of see where it's at as a baseline, and then we're going to make some adjustments, do some tweaks on it, and see if we can pick up some power and make this thing rip. So first initial startup on this thing, we do have a little bit of a hunty idle, and it idles a little bit high. Customer's okay with us giving this a baseline as is, but if it's really lean, I'm just going to get out of it anyways. Even just at idle, this is just a Type R base map. We're running, the wideband is pegged all the way lean right now, so definitely needs some fuel. And it does have a check engine light currently, so we're going to see what this thing does. I think it just has check light for the O2 sensor that we unplugged, so that shouldn't really affect VTEC operation. We're just going to give it a tug as is, see what it does. Did was put the Type R stock base map on it. Okay. You run on 91, 93, 87, 93? Okay. You get like shell gas or quick trip? Okay. Alright guys, initial hit on this thing definitely needs some tuning, that's for sure. Yeah, we didn't even make 100 horsepower just because I got out of it at 6,200 RPM because the wideband was just super lean. It was literally like pegged all the way lean, and you guys can see the graph is very flat. The torque is it has a downward trend to it. So this squiggly bullshit will get fixed when we put some fuel in it. But first we're gonna throw a timing light on it. Yeah, you can see the air fuel right here. Where it actually made some power, it had some fuel in it. It had like a 15:3 air fuel ratio coming in. Yeah, not good. We gotta fix it. So first we're gonna get timing light on, get the S300 pulled up here, and then grab the cord if he's got one in here. Do you have a cord in here for the Honda? So yeah, I mean pretty much everywhere on the map is lean because pretty much a Type R map is for 1.8 liter. This is a 2 liter, so we need to add in the additional fuel for the larger displacement engine.
Ooh, I got something to show them.
87 horsepower.
So, yeah.
That's something to fucking ride home, but we're gonna double that fucker.
Absolutely. Gumballs Reviews. Gumballs Reviews. Subscribe on the YouTube. So, you guys know, if you watch the other video, I took my $200 beater and blasted it into the fucking snowbank over there. And, got that. No damage, thankfully. But, so this thing has a stock radio in it. And because the battery was off for so long, the code thing came on. So you need the code from Honda. And Hunter and everybody else is like, you gotta call Honda. I think they give it to you for free if it's ever been serviced there. And I was like, I ain't doing that. So I actually opened up the glove box, and the first thing that I saw anti-theft radio identification card. So I open this up, and now I can't get it open. There we go. So I actually opened this thing up, and the radio code was in here. So now I have radio. Yeah, I was stoked, especially for a beater, and I didn't really want to put a new head unit in here, just because I don't really want to spend the 20 or 30 bucks on one. So I got that working. I got this fucker cleaned out. The carpet is still stained. If anybody knows how to get these old ass stains out of here, let me know. This thing was disgusting when I got it. They literally pulled 4 bags of trash out. Yeah, it was fucking gross. But got it all cleaned out, kind of as good as I could. The back doors don't open for some reason. Don't know why. Like, doesn't open from the inside, doesn't open from the outside, and the locks are stuck. Like the, you know, the good old up and down right here. These on the back are stuck. So I can't do anything with the back. Once again, if anybody knows how I can get those open, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, drop it down in the comments, whatever. Let's go see what they're doing inside. There, I gave you a good old gumball review shout out.
Ooh, I don't even have that channel anymore, I don't think. I don't know what happened to it. I gotta put it in the old broke off.
Oh, it actually broke
Yeah,
off.
I pulled on it the other day.
Alright.
It was $9.
$9?
Yeah.
From where?
Somewhere online.
Like Rock Auto or something?
No, I was gonna order it from Rock Auto. I was gonna order that, like 3 filters, and and a cabin air filter. And it was like 20 bucks, but then they wanted like an extra 15 bucks for shipping. I'm like,
Really?
yeah. And that was just for regular shipping too.
I thought Rock Auto was like free shipping or some shit.
I don't know. Apparently, because it was coming from 2 different warehouses, it was more expensive.
Oh.
We got a mouse under the hood, it sounds like, but he thinks it is the alternator. It could be anything really on the belt system. It could be the water pump or the cams. Maybe the belt's a little too tight, but anyways. We went into Honda. So we went into Honda and we actually added fuel into the overall trim to get this thing to actually idle on the wideband, because before it was super lean, and now we're actually reading air fuel. And as soon as I put fuel into the motor, it started idling really high. So currently, if I turn off the set ignition timing here, the car is idling at almost 2 grand. So what we're gonna do is we are going to turn the idle motor all the way down on the tune here. So we're gonna go to Honda in the idle section. Come on, fuck, computer's cold today. Idle, and we'll go to the duty cycle here, and we'll turn this guy all the way off. Or all the way down, I should say. Okay, so now that that's all the way down and our timing is set, we have good fuel in it, we are going to set the base idle, or base, set the idle mechanically. Man, what the fuck is that squeal? I don't know, it's fucking irritating. Yeah, I could spray some WD or something on the belts and see what one's squealing, if it's the timing or the time belt might be a little tight.
God, that's tight.
But it doesn't seem...
Definitely didn't tighten it that much.
It doesn't seem that... like it's just squeal, you know what I mean? What kind of water pump is it in?
ITR.
ITR? Okay. Is it like a Honda one or...
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Brand new ITR water pump.
Then I would assume that it's got to be alternator.
Yeah, it's I've put as many OEM parts as possible on it.
Yeah.
I have, 5% over discount.
Right. Okay, so this is going to be a Torx bit on the Skunk 2 throttle, I believe, and then an 8 mil or 10 mil jam nut. Okay guys, so we did find a little issue with the idle. The way that the vacuum was plumbed on this for the PCV was actually wrong. There was the vacuum line from the manifold going straight to the valve cover without the PCV in the center of it. So technically this was just a big vacuum leak and it was just sucking oil straight out of the valve cover. So probably was causing the car to burn some oil or consume oil and also having that vacuum leak. So what we did for the time being is we just put the hose from the valve cover going straight down and then capped off the spot for the PCV hose. So normally what I think what he's going to do is either run a breather here or run this hose to the cold air intake and then either just keep this plugged or run this to the actual PCV, which is sitting in the manifold. So once we did that, we got the idle screw adjustment on the butterfly set properly with air fuel is at 14.7 at idle and timing is set. I think we're ready to start driving, tune some cruising, make sure all that's good, and then we'll get into some wide open throttle. All right guys, so we got the wideband live and we are going through and we're just gonna get the cruising portion of this thing dialed in properly here. Let's get the idle air fuel perfect right now, and now we're gonna start driving. We can hit the data logger and we will be able to map trace on the tune here to know exactly where the car is running at. So start driving. So I did play with some of this already. We are looking a little bit rich right now. Like 1350, which isn't bad, but we're just gonna adjust some of the low vacuum portions. So we're just gonna pull out like 5%. We wanna have the low vacuum portions of the map as close to 14.7 or even a little bit leaner on a stock car, just so we can maximize the fuel efficiency of the motor. So I just pulled out 5% and we're sitting right at 14.7 now. And this is about highway speed. So honestly, I'll get it up into 5th gear here and we will do actual highway speed quick. So we're up to about 70 mile an hour and you guys can see we're at 13.2. We're gonna just go a column over, a couple columns over here, which is where the highway speed portion usually lives. We're gonna pull out 10%. We'll pull out like 7% out of there. Get this tuned up as best we can so we can have good good efficiency on the highway. So 15.7, 15.8 air fuel is probably going to be our happy spot. If we go any leaner than this, it's probably going to misfire because this is a low compression V20. It's not the high comp version. I might even just trickle a few more back in it just to be safe so we don't encounter any misfiring at cruise. On my own stuff, I usually like to tune them for that 16.0 air fuel, but sometimes, you know, if you get a little hiccup here and there, I don't want any complaints on the tune. So we're just going to get it as close as we can here. As we can see here, highway speed one more time. Yep, 15.5 is where I'm leaving it. So that should be able to get this thing upwards over 30 miles a gallon on the highway. CRVs really don't get that good of mileage anyway. But now what we're going to do is we're going to do a few throttle sweeps. We're going to check all our sensors here, make sure we're doing good. Coolant temp is a little bit warm right now, so we're going to verify the fan's working. Because he did mention something with that, also the TPS is at a little bit higher of a percentage than it should be right now. So let's see here. We're gonna go to the parameters. We'll go to TPS and get the throttle set quick. So we'll turn the key on. Car's off currently. So foot is completely off the gas. We're gonna read. I think you have to be logging to do this. Yep. And then maximum. There we go. So now when we go to our data log, our TPS should be at 0. Display. Yep, 0. And then I go all the way to the floor, and we're at 100. 102. And then we are going to go online, test outputs, and see if this fan is kicking on. I don't think it is. Oh, it is. We're good. So the fan does work. But a lot of the times on the stock base maps, the fan will not kick on until like 205 or so. So we're going to go in here and do a change. Go to protection under the parameters here, and we go to override radiator fan control and set this at like 195 instead of the stock setting. And overheating protection I usually leave alone at like 212. I sometimes I set them at 220 or 215. Alright, so we're going to be doing some throttle sweeps here with VTEC disabled. So VTEC is currently disabled. We're just going to do some throttle sweeps and get the low cam fuel side of things tuned up. And we are going to be very easy on the ignition. So I'm actually just going to go in here and I'm going to pull out 5 degrees. Alright, so that means at wide open throttle, we are going to be running around 21 degrees or so. 22. And then on the VTEC side, we're going to change that as well. We're going to start low and work up. Don't ever want to do it the opposite way. Never want to start high and work down, because that is how you hurt shit. So on the VTEC side, we're going to run like 22. Set selected values to 22 degrees. This car is on 93 octane pump gas, but I don't want to give it a lot of timing because it does have a stock exhaust. The more backed up the airflow is in the engine, the more the less timing and the less fuel it's going to want. So alright, let's get some throttle sweeps done on the low cam. Now that we have our timing set conservatively, we can get all this stuff dialed in safely. Alright, so we're going to start off $2,000 or so in like 5th. Good. Sometimes some motors will like a 12.0, some will like a 13.5, some will like a 12.5. It all depends on the car. Our fuel is looking good, boys. Fuel is looking good.
How's she going?
Pretty good.
Yep.
I'm ready to do a pull.
Okay.
So we're doing 3rd gear runs in this car because it's all motor. Doesn't really make a whole lot of power, so there's no need to stress it in a high gear on the dyno. So we'll start the run at like 2,500 RPM. Christian's gonna hit the start. Yep, ready to go. Watching the air fuel here the whole pull. no VTEC. Air fuel is looking good though, so we're gonna turn the VTEC on and make sure that we can get all that dialed in. All right guys, so we just did a couple non-VTEC pulls, and we did pick up around 30 wheel horsepower compared to what the car came in with no VTEC at all. So, and that is very soft timing. This car, bone stock exhaust, I don't even barely know what it's gonna make because of the stock exhaust. It's like 1.5 inches in diameter, so it's really killing power on this thing, like bad. So we're just gonna compare our fuel tables here and make sure that we have additional fuel on the VTEC side, which we do not on this map. So what we're gonna do is what I sometimes do is I'll take the whole low cam side and I'll copy it over to the VTEC side, and then add in additional fuel for VTEC. We'll turn VTEC on, upload, make sure our coolant temp's doing good here. Now that we got the fan on, it should be running a lot cooler. Display, yep, 188 now instead of 202 or whatever it was at before. VTEC needs a little more fuel.
It's a big dip, right at about 65.
Yeah, 149, 154 we made on that one, and it's got no timing in it right now. So.
Right.
The fuel looked great though. Look at this.
Yeah.
It might like a little bit more fuel, but it depends on the motor. Some of them like more, some of them like less.
Well, that's
and
why
this dip in here is probably because the timing is so conservative right now, and this jump in VTEC needs to come down.
Synchronize it quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see it's dead. Wherever the low cam is, so if we go to the pull with low cam, we can see kind of where it's kind of hard to see. So whenever you have like a large jump, when the VTEC crossover hits, that means usually that you need to lower the VTEC setting or raise it. So
right.
if you have a jump, you need to lower it. And if you have a dip, you need to raise it.
Right.
So that's just like general rule of thumb. And the fuel, as you guys can see, is pretty flat. We have like a couple spots here where it's rich, like kind of right at the crossover. It looks like it dumps down a little and then comes back up. So we're gonna get this smoothened out. We're going to add in fuel. Everything below like 7,500, we're gonna add in fuel everywhere. And leave the timing alone. So we're just gonna see what a little bit more fuel does, if it likes it or if it doesn't like it.
62 to 72 is running like 12.5. What's that? Yeah.
So I put a couple degrees of timing in it this go around because I think the choppiness on the graph is just because I'm being really conservative with the ignition until we get the fuel dialed in.
Gotcha.
That's usually what I always tell everybody, is start with fuel,
Right.
with ignition low, and then once the
move
fuel
into
is
timing.
sweet. Yeah, look how much smoother that is now.
Right.
So now if we put some timing in it, we're hopefully just gonna bring all these little dips and bumps even, and carry it out. Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Not bad.
Not bad, coming in with 82 horsepower or whatever,
Oh,
and
70.
we're making we made 151 or 154 on a couple, and now with a little bit of timing, hopefully we can get this thing upwards to 160. 78 horse.
Let's get it.
I mean, it picked up a little bit. Pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Everywhere, yeah. So we'll continue on that path for.
Fuel looks good. Fuel, you dip down at the crossover to an 11.5.
What was it right before the crossover?
Right before the crossover, 12.3.
What was it at like 7,000?
7 is at like 12.4.
Right here at 12.3. So like up to right up to about 6,500.
Give me a sip. Little sip. Little sippy sip. Alright. Hold on. I got something to tell you in a second here. Don't do it like that. Yeah. 155, 118. You pull a little fuel out of it?
I just smoothened out at this section right here.
Right.
So. Yeah, man.
Not bad.
It's about as good as it's gonna get. We could try to yank the air filter off or something. You want to see 160? Yeah, flat air fuel. Looks good, dude. I approve.
Right. I did want to mention too, I am still looking for a cam and a converter for my S10. If anybody has anything relatively budget, shoot me a message on Instagram, cblake1313. Drop it down in the comments. Get a hold of me somehow. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even. You know. Let me know what you got. And I do have, well, Hunter's got PayPal, so I fucked up with my bank shit. But still, I'm looking for a converter and a cam. Thank you.
Alrighty, guys. So we did end up getting the CRV all tuned up, and that thing is good to go now. It actually has proper fueling and timing in it now that it had a proper dyno tune. So that car definitely was lacking power, having the completely stock header and stock cat, stock resonator, stock 1.5-inch exhaust. Like, it was choked. So had it had a actual header and a catback exhaust of like 2.5-inch diameter, that would have picked up, I say, 30 wheel horsepower.
Even like just one of those cheap DNA motoring kits.
Yeah, just like even a cheap eBay kit, like Christian was saying, those cheap eBay exhausts work just fine too. So I mean, anything's better than stock, but the problem is with his car, he had to pass emissions, So he had to have the completely stock exhaust on it for it to pass emissions. So he said he may come back with a test pipe and a header, and we can re-dyno it. But just for comparison here, so this is what it came in making, and our peak number was 154 horsepower, and you guys can see it picked up literally everywhere. Like, this is completely bullcrap power graph, and you guys can see even from everywhere from $3,000 and above picked up giant. Like, I mean, just the difference at 3,000 RPM in torque, we have, say, 85 foot-pounds, and we went up to 101. So that's like 15 foot-pounds of torque it picked up.
What? Can you do math?
85
Sorry.
to 101 is 15.
I can't do
So it picked up 15 foot-pounds of torque just at 3,500 RPM. So it's going to have way more punch. And obviously the peak number, you can see here at like 5,500, it's making 67 horsepower. And now at 5,500 is making 120 about. And then obviously way up at the peak, we were making 152 horsepower. This whole graph would get bumped up even higher had it had a better flowing exhaust. An engine is an air pump, always remember that. So if you can't get the air in or out, it's not going to flow good horsepower. So, and we have the air fuel perfect, nice and flat. You guys can see when it came in. Super lean is the top line here. That's like above 15 air fuel. And then we got it down in the 12s air fuel after we tuned it. So pretty stoked about that. Dyno is working flawless like it has been since I got it. Everything is working really good. Very happy with all this. And I wanted to throw in too at the end of the video, if this isn't too long, I did fix the snowmobile, and I wanted to show you some of the updates we did inside the office as well. We got a new cell phone booster in the shop, so we picked up this WeBoost cell phone booster as a refurbished unit on eBay. It was 120 bucks, and just standing here in the shop, guys, I have 4 bars of LTE, so I have perfect service now. We'll actually be able to, like, you know, maybe do like Facebook live streams and stuff like that out here. And then we also got an antenna for the TV. So we've been watching. Oh boy, somebody overdosed on TV. Great time to show you the TV, right?
Right. We were watching the X Games.
Yeah, we were watching the X Games. We were just in here watching the X Games on the TV here. We actually took the antenna from the old cell phone booster and just ran it in the TV, and we actually have antenna TV, so we get like 30 channels.
Right.
And it was free, so.
I didn't think it was going to work.
Right.
And I was like, it's just an antenna.
Yep.
It'll work.
So we did get this cheap TV from the pawn store for 50 bucks. And then we got a little temperature thing, thermometer. Temperature thing. We got a fucking coolant temp sensor for the shop, the intake air temp. So this is a cool little thermometer that I thought we would add. It was cheap. It was like 15 bucks. And it shows the inside temperature, like what temperature it is inside the office. And then we have an external thermometer as well. So like that says it's 39 degrees outside. It's actually like 35. It's quite warm out today. So this antenna, or this sensor, is for telling that what temperature it is outside, so we can know when we're sitting in the shop, oh, it's cold, I better bundle up. But yeah, so did want to give you guys a quick little update on the snowmobile, my ZL 800. I finally got it running good. It was a really stupid issue, but I had the whole snowmobile apart. I had the flywheel off of it. I was checking the timing key. I was checking the injectors, make sure everything was working well. And it was such a stupid issue, but the snowmobile ended up having one of the throttle blades. So this has 2 throttle bodies and 2 injectors. And one of the throttle bodies was completely shut and the other one was open. So the throttle bodies were not synced properly. So you have to have these synced, you know, you have to sync the throttle bodies individually so they're both open at idle, or, you know, both, they're at the same spot when you give it throttle. One's not getting more air or less air than the other one. So I ended up fixing that. I'm very happy with that. The snowmobile rips, like, it's super fast. I love it. So we're gonna take that thing up north next weekend now, because mine wasn't running this weekend in order to take it up north. So yeah, stupid issue on the sled, but got it figured out, and I'm super happy. That thing was really stressing me out yesterday trying to figure it out. I did kind of just want to explain what was going on with the sled. It was bogging and it didn't have any power. It acted like it had a fouled spark plug, which it did, because that one side that it was misfiring on, the throttle body was shut, the injector was still pouring fuel in, and every time I would hold my hand over that throttle body, it would do nothing, like it was misfiring. Well, if I put my hand over the throttle body, it makes sense because it was shut anyway. The throttle body was shut, so it wasn't getting enough air. I would spray carb cleaner all over to see if it had a crank seal leak. Spray it in the throttle body, literally no change because the blade was completely shut. Nothing was going in.
Right, and then when it was sitting in here, the first thing I looked at was I pinned the throttle, and from the outside, it was moving both of them.
Yep.
And then didn't think anything of it.
Right. Yeah, super weird issue. But that when I would leave the snowmobile idling, that throttle body was shut. It was just pouring raw gas in that cylinder, which would in turn follow the spark plug. When I would take it out for a ride, it would just be all loaded up and fouled. And then when I'd come back down to idle, it would do the same thing and flood it. So it's all good now. Very happy. That fucking sled has electric start, remote start, EFI, reverse, studded track, and it's an 800cc two-stroke ripper. So maybe we'll have to go do some high-speed runs with it or something on camera one of these days. Or take it drag racing. Who knows? So, anyways, that's going to be it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. And hopefully you like this video. We've been doing really good on the likes. I've been saying it every video. We're near 300 to 400 likes on all the latest videos. And I really appreciate all the support, guys. And I'm trying to be a little bit more informative and show you as much information as I possibly can while we're on the dyno or while I'm tuning. Anything I'm doing, I'm trying to get a little bit better at filming more stuff. So leave a like if you appreciate that. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Have a great night and a better tomorrow.
Peace.